because like you said, Cammy has had a tough time going up against LA Thieves ARs on the opposing end. A 0.7 in this matchup. You need to turn it around. But LA Thieves are back-to-back champions. Trying to make it a third one to start with their first match.
Well, let's get it on. Hydra, one of our first team all-stars already, kicking things off, trying to play aggressively through square. Turned away immediately, but it will be Envoy and Ghosty who get it done. Early little 2v4 from those boys in LA are in the hardpoint early.
In the hardpoint early and also in control of the spawns that they want. Both ARs locking down the lanes. SMG's causing mayhem through the middle of the map. They're finding the trades, 2v2, making it 3v2, last man standing awakening. Another clean for that. Thieves still in control.
Yeah, absolute polished gameplay coming out here from LA off this opening break off. They don't really get the aggression they wanted on a Hydra, but the lockdown around the hardpoint is perfect. Now Hydra with an AR in hand, trying to do some damage over towards the entry for Boston. Gets some damage in, but is allowing now Scrap to clean things up. And no, Purge able to find a double. That'll get Boston in for a little bit of scrap time here in the last 5 seconds as we rotate to P2.
Yeah, they have a little bit of mid-map control to make their rotation attempt a little bit easier, but Thieves are going to be the team here early. Snoopy trying to apply pressure through the back. Is only able to take down one, but Awakening finds a double. That secures the close spawns there for Boston. Now they're in the time.
Can they get a read, though, with this long route from Hydra starting to develop over towards the proximal spawns? Purge able to find the first blood and get to work on a route, trying to cut off this enforcement hit over the top, but he gets shut down. Now spawns will start to move around a touch. Full surround coming in with LA spawning close. Hydra able to find
Big
one,
two.
make that a second, and that'll be LA now in from the back. Still having to fight against a close Boston in through pool.
Yeah, that's beautiful pressure there from Hydra to attack through the front side at Truck, find an opening double, even though his teammates don't want the spawn towards the back end. They're still making this scrappy to close this one out. Hydra now on 5 in a row. Yeah, let's just go for the ego, Chow. You already know that you're feeling yourself, but more focus on soaking up this final 15 seconds, giving themselves a little bit more of a comfortable lead, heading over towards B3.
One of the macro factors about this matchup you have to keep your eye on here for the hardpoints is the rotation game. LA has been one of the best teams through Major 4 and DreamHack at rotating early, and they did try to get Envoy around the back to flip the spawns around. Actually, they do get benefited with the spawn over towards Art. Doesn't look like Awakening is going to expect that initially. Envoy trying to find the easy follow-up and will. So now things start to stabilize LA on the left side of the map while Boston are in the hardpoint.
Yeah, now Boston has to play for the time and keep them away from it. Potentially try to flip these spawns on its head. There's only 40 seconds still to fight for here. Scrap off to a slow start at 2 and 8. But the same thing could be said for Cammy on the opposing end. Boston, though, so far, are managing a lot of time here at the P3, are dominating that mid-map presence, and Thieves have not been able to get close.
Yeah, Boston just not really putting the effort through the middle of the map, though. Just still focused on the hardpoint, and Envoy's double right under the hardpoint gets LA back in for some time. Hydra shuts down the play over towards stair side, and now things start to look a little bit trepidatious here as Boston have to try to work across the map and try to get some sort of a setup over towards P4.
Yeah, this is where it starts to spiral out of control when you're going up against this kind of line of Thieves. Just hit some egregious routes sometimes that work out for their SMGs and catch Boston off guard. You're up by 30. You have the P4 side on lock. You're finding every single kill in the feed. And now Boston looking for another break through the front.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. I mean, this is the #1 rotation-based team in LA on this map throughout Major 4. Their holds have been maybe a little bit subject to question at times, but so far on this map, they've been pretty much perfect. Boston trying to set up something for a break attempt here early at 4, but the cutoff from Scrap is decent. You mentioned his slow start, but now starting to heat up a touch on 3 in a row.
Already up by 50. Can be up by 80 if you can lock down the rest of this time. We're just going 1 by 1 right now. If you're breached, we cannot afford that because we're losing those initial gunfights. Knowing you're the team trying to set up for a hold, the first kill is the most important, and Thieves are just lighting up the kill feed. No one dropping. Hydra again on another streak. The final 15 is going to be theirs, and Boston have a tall ladder to climb to get back in now.
Yeah, the 2 storylines we're talking about for Boston players are, well, coming into the narrative very quickly here. Cammy, we talked about how he has just struggled versus LA team. 4 in 12. Snoopy, one of the X factors for Boston and Hardpoint, also over double negative. So Boston just not really getting anything going at the moment. Need to wake up in the second rotation if they want to have a chance.
So far, he's doing this job right. Securing the P2 spawns, dominating that mid-map control. That's a clean 4 dead, but no one hard blocking. Envoy hitting a route. He's at 21 and 9. All of Thieves spawn over towards ammo. Now they have the numbers for the break.
Yeah, he's got 5 seconds of Hardpoint now. He is just running around as soon as Hydra falls. Kind of pass to the top to the SMG players. Ghosty has also been great when he's on his lonesome, but this time overwhelmed as now Boston have 30 seconds to fight for. But the big question is not just what happens over this 30. They need to get this next P2 to have a chance to get back in this game.
Without question, but they can also lock down this final 20 and keep them, or give them a lot of opportunities for an early break. But Thieves find every single kill in the feed. Cammy, last man standing, finds a double at the right time, and that secures the spawns there for Awakening. So spawns now flip. Boston's still down by a hefty margin, but they have the spawns that they want for P2 to lock this one down.
Have to hold it. Boston have not been a great hold percentage team in the last couple of months, but they have a good line of scrimmage set, but they don't get a read necessarily that the spawns had been so quick around the back, so now they have to try to play recovery. Cammy on 4 in a row, can't quite get his fit. Awakening trying to stay safe inside the hard point. Purge trying to assist, and he's good for one, almost another, but it does give enough space for Wake to get some help from poolside. Still has not been challenged yet inside the hard point.
So far uncontested for the first 20 seconds, but now the Thieves are winning gunfight after gunfight. That's already 3 dead. Purge last man standing over towards Cat. You have 2 players from Boston, though, still spawning on the backside of this P2, so they have pressure from every single angle. Just going to fly their way right back on in, soak up this final time, and get themselves right back into this game. This has been a great hold from Boston.
Yeah, it really has been. Cammy also stepping up just a touchdown, 12 and 15. Nade tags onto a member up top. Chase is on, can't quite find Scrap, and Cammy says, all right, on to the next. And that's going to be a play over through vault stairs, trying to get some sort of a setup here. Going Scrap to initial from 2 to 3 could be really beneficial here for Boston as they track past the 100-point mark.
Cammy trying to plead a nuisance on the bottom side of Art. Teammate there to assist onto the gunfight on Ghosty, but this is the most important one. Envoy's able to secure the first, with Snoopy there for the trade. Now Snoop's the only one on this side of the map. All of LA Thieves, they find the break. They bombard their way back over towards top part. Now they're in the control of the map again.
Now lots of damage though from Wake. Doesn't have the help to necessarily push all the way forward into the hard point, but he does take Ghosty out of the time to keep it neutral. Now the play over towards Palms. Good kills at mid-map for Breach. Awakening trying to do a little bit more over towards this back position at Vans, but a tough look at the gunfight, and he's got nowhere to go. Thieves able to respond, and will again keep this hard point open.
Keep it open, but you're also dominating the side of the map that you want for the P4. It was basically a full 60 the last go around. And now Boston know, if we're not going to get this time, someone has to develop on the route. So Purge going to work his way through bottom side of Vault. Teammate's going to get the player off the point. And he's just hoping to sneak on by, but Scrap's not going to get caught slipping. Spawn secured for Thieves. They're set up again.
Yeah, the long route on the bottom side of the map also kept honest by Envoy. So this will be Thieves set up for P4. Boston still struggling to get back over the middle of the map, and Hydra's going to try to play contestant to that. He's already found one. Trying to finesse around for another, but Snoopy finds the trade. So Boston will get a little bit of a closer spawn at poolside, and the pressure can start to amount over towards the right side of the map.
Snoopy just has to find an opening. You need your teammates to win some gunfights, but everyone is falling at the wrong time. It's already 3 dead. Scrap on 5 in a row. He knows that he's still looking for one. Locates the final one onto Snoopy. All the pressure going to be through the right side, and Boston just cannot get close towards B4.
Yeah, they just keep moving them around. You have to hit through B Street, now you have to hit through Pool Street. It's just not comfortable at all for Boston. Last 20 seconds, maybe an opportunity here to try to get into the side door. Can't be able to find one, maybe a pinch to be set up. Pinch strike to kill feet. Ghosty, last one left. Stays alive, gets the reload, and now the pistol has just got enough help to make sure Awakening cannot find a way in. So 184 to 104 the count. Heading back over to P1, Boston in control, at least initially, of the setup, but the gunfight wins are not convincing enough to get early time.
Now, if you are the Thieves, you can just play keep away a little bit. We'll turn this into like just we get a couple kills, then we flood our way in towards the HP. You're up by 80, almost 90. You're finding the trades around the mid-map. Envoy is still dominating here on the opening ball. Just going back and forth between the guns, but the hell time's right. You would take this if you're Thieves.
Yeah, absolutely you will. I mean, the lead is just so significant at this point that it would have to be something miraculous for Boston to work their way back in. Good couple of kills here with 30 seconds to fight for on P1. You can see number 7, Cammy, just trying to lock things down over towards P2 to keep the spawn safe. And that is the only lifeline they have at the moment. They need to get a full 60 and then try to win over towards P4. And you can see the graphic looming. They have not found a single point there. So lots of things need to change here for Boston, but doing a decent job over the top of the remaining time of P1.
Yeah, I think you're banking now on the perfect setup at P2 like you had last go around to keep yourself in the game. You have the spawns currently on lock. The AR's holding down the long distance lanes. Awakening finds a big one-on-one, and Purge is now going to get the info onto Envoy as well. So you're set up again here at P2. The initial kill goes your way. The second kill goes your way. Now Boston are fully set up.
Yeah, I got this trade over the middle of the map, though. Spawns for Boston, still going to be good behind P2. Awakening still searching for Ghosty, who has eluded him. And that's going to be enough now for Envoy to call the Hellstorm and to try to supply some sort of a break attempt here from the front. Ordnance gets called out, Purge will fall. Scrap Hydra finding kills behind that. Now the spawns start to move around a bit. There's a pinch on the way. Can you hold if you're Boston? You absolutely have to, but no. Awakening, Cammy both taken out, and Thieves will get past 200 points.
Perfect timing there on Envoy to invest the cruise missile. Gets a kill with it, forces the spawn out, then just bombards their way back into the P2 with their numbers. They know that this is a very good time if we can walk away with it, and Boston are not going to give this one up for free, but Scrap is able to find the double Envoy again with a big one-on-one. Final 15 is going to be theirs, and now running all the way across the map to put yourself in a better spot for P3.
Yeah, all four falling right there is just the worst possible situation for Boston, because you're now not going to have a chance to even stop LA from possibly getting early time at P3. And every second is going to feel like the dagger digging deeper into your back, and opening kill from Envoy will now have LA, again, winning mid-map and looking over towards P3.
Yeah, this is what makes it so much more difficult now for Boston. Being down by 80, they know that they need to maintain this P4 side of the map and play keep away, but Thieves, they're just focused on, let's just get the hell time.
Why not?
Scrap on 5 in a row, that's already 3 dead. Last man right in front of you. Let's just sit down and soak.
Foot spawn situation, big gunfight win from Cammy. Awakening able to use that off spawn to get 2. So hold on a second. Boston have some situations to work with right here, especially with a follow-up killing off Ghosty from the middle of the map. So you look at the last 20 seconds, it really just comes down to, can you find the kills on the overextension? And so far, Boston are good. It just comes down to now, can Boston hold as we head over to P4?
Snoopy's in a very crucial position, at least able to find one before falling. Still gonna spawn right next to his teammates at the new HP. But Thieves only need 1 break. They breached that 240 mark. All the pressure through that right side. ARs need to lock it down.
Yeah, Boston is just completely buttoned up and bunkering down on this hard point. I don't even know if anyone can really even see how many members are hitting over through B Street here. You've got Snoopy down low trying to cover. He's able to find one. Cammy with some support up top will find another. But LA are still working their way around over towards Vault Stairs. Cammy going to relinquish the position up high to move down in towards the low ground. And Cammy's now on 7 in a row. After a miserable start, Boston now have a chance to hold, but you do get Envoy around the back, and just comes down to, does he find an opening? No, Perk shuts it down, and Boston are still alive.
Finally, Boston gets some P4 time. They put themselves in position to win the rotation. So far, this has been flawless to keep themselves into this game, gain some momentum in this series. Only down by 60 now. Cammy on 7 in a row, cannot earn himself the cruise missile, but Boston gained a lot of momentum after that P4.
Can you start to string together kills, though, as you rotate over to P1? Trade is good on the Hydra. Ghosty seen that mid-map, tagged and turned on as Awakening snaps back over to find the kill. Purge, he has earned himself a Hellstorm. 199 to 242. Not a lot of room to breathe with here for Boston. He's going to place a perfect hard point, but they are providing. Hydra able to find 2, but Awakening there for the trade. 1v1 over the time, and Ghosty finds the win. Any chance for Boston to get here is going to have to be by the way of a mad dash, and it doesn't look like anyone's going to get there. Maybe Purge? No, not going to happen. LA take map 1.
That's just easy right there for LAT. When you're dominating the P4s the way that you did on the first 2 go-arounds. Uncontested, 98 seconds to none after we ended our second rotation of HPs. They were just in the driver's seat, man. The SMGs causing mayhem. The ARs having a sort of a slow start, but that's where the SMGs were able to pick them up there. It's just LA Thieves are too much to handle sometimes in Hardpoint. Boston start to give themselves a fight with a great P2 hold, finally securing spawns for the P4, but at that point, it's too late.
Yeah, and that's just the kind of power that LA is going to throw at you, especially on a map like Vault that can snowball out of control very quickly. Helps that Envoy goes 38-27, just behind him is Hydra at 38-29. But the non-traded kill percentage is also kind of standing out with the assists on top of that, double digits across the board. So again, just the team play from LA. Too strong opening things up. Got to give some credit, though, that Cammy and Snoopy both turned the game around. Cammy in particular, able to go 27 and 29 after only finding 3 or 4 kills in the first 5 hard points. So that's just that slow start that really is the difference maker here.
Yeah, and that's what Vault is. It's like if you're winning a majority of your rotations on the first and also the second rotation of the HPs, you're most likely going to walk away with the W. It was just Boston started getting their guns a little bit hot very late into that game. Cammy started to turn up, found a lot more consistency with the SMG early on, and when he needed to whip out the AR, finally when they had some P4 control, you saw what he was capable of. But Thieves just have too much firepower. The fundamentals are always in play. They are the best rotation team that we've had throughout this entire season, and they continue to show it.
Yeah, really clean stuff. Again, just building on the narratives that were already being established at DreamHack. And that's important. I mean, again, like it feels weird to say, but I mean, that was a month ago, essentially, at this point. So lots of things could change over the course of scrims. You kind of maybe sometimes get in your head if things aren't going as well as they were just at the events, but everything seems to be pretty much baked into the recipe here for LA completely. Now, Boston, like we talked about, is coming into this as nothing to lose, kind of. You know, it's the 8th seed into a #1 seed that you have beaten before. You know, there's a lot to be said about not really losing any muster or really kind of any confidence in a map that looks like that. But now you start talking about map number 2. It has to be a win.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to come out and win the search and destroy now, because it looks like the only path forward to beat this LA team is through the 2-4-5.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, you know, we're 0-4 in this matchup versus them in control. So that's basically going to be a down 0-2 if we lose the search and destroy. But the S&D, like you said, is a must win, man. The only thing that's more difficult now, though, is the form that LA Thieves have found themselves in recently in Search and Destroy. They are 9-1 in their last 10 S&Ds.
Yeah.
And a bunch of those S&DWs are coming from some of the best teams that we have in Search and Destroy in this title. They have just been making easy work of every single person. And the biggest thing as well is that LA Thieves don't have a slow start to this series.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was that map number 1. And the fact that they were able to manage, even when the chaos was starting to brew in the middle of that game, they still were able to put the closing bow on it. I
think one of the things that, at least for me, and we can have the conversation now, the LA win at DreamHack over Atlanta, I think, was most impressive because of how they looked in the search and destroy 100%. In particular. Because I think we were all looking at LA saying, all right, you know, Hardpoints, win your controls, that's your path to victory. Kind of the story when they had won their first major in Major 3 in Boca, but that was against a different opponent. I mean, it was a 4-0 beat down onto Vancouver. But I think that impressively, you look at that head-to-head versus Atlanta, a team that we hold in high regard in the search and destroy. You look at LA, a team we hold in high regard for control, but it really wasn't necessarily those two stories there. And I think that just helps build towards how does LA go 3 in a row like Atlanta had done. So we'll see how things kind of unfold as we take a look at the land records between these two teams. And again, kind of speaking to the point, LA second overall in the search and destroy, whereas Boston have not been able to find the same sauce that they do on land.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because when you watch this Boston team, the way that they like to play search and destroy is just taking a lot of risks early on into the map. We know how aggressive Purge likes to play. The Soul Man, the Island player, trying to take a very aggressive angle to either get early information or find early information to set up his teams with it. And if you're playing against this LA Thieves roster who love to play that spread map setup, you cannot afford to give them that first blood.
Can't have it. But a Hacienda in front of us has not been a regular map, really, for either of these two teams. You see it in the last 5 here for LA. They've only played it once, and that was against Toronto, what feels like an eternity ago. They've been playing a lot of red card, and that's another story for if we do get to map 5. They are 7-0 in their last 7 red card attempts. So this is, again, just helps build towards that same story of how unlikely this matchup seems to feel for Boston just after losing map number 1, but you have to take this search and destroy, and they're going to kick things off on the opening attack.
Yeah, Purge is going to be the difference maker for me on the side of Breach. It's the way he likes to play S&D. Usually with the aggression, able to gain early info. Snoopy finds the first one and they instantly get the bomb down. So 9-man advantage. Let's just play our trades.
Yeah, and I love this back up here for Purge. You know someone's pushing over towards bottom secret. There should be someone up top, and he's able to find Hydra for the second kill of the round. Down low, Snoopy giving a bit of a battle over towards Scrap, who cannot handle it. And now it's just on to Ghosty top side window. And this is one of those good luck, have fun 1v3s as he's got absolutely nowhere to go. Quick opening round for Boston, setting the tone.
Yeah, perfect tone setting round right there out of Boston. The aggression over towards the B site. Purge gaining info that no one was going to be aggressive through mid fountain. So they don't have top secret. They are not mid and bottom connector. Instantly get the bomb down. It also helps as soon as that bomb gets planted, you find that first blood. So everything after that is just a trade. Boston play it perfect to secure the first round.
Yeah, you see Envoy making a mad dash through fountain. You know there's someone else up top. There's no way he's making that play by himself. So great awareness on Boston. That little tactical retreat. Finding the first 2 kills and making the round very, very simple. Now Thieves, their time to rebuttal, and it looks like they're going to head the same direction. Just an opening hit over towards A.
This is usually the side of the map that they dominate on. Is their attacks. They find the early first blow, but Snoopy instantly finds a double. Gives the number advantage in favor of Boston, and they gain that info that the bomb is down.
Yeah.
3v2, play the trade.
Yeah, I just don't know if they've been able to stay forward far enough to guarantee that info. He puts the door on point for 2 and slips away.
No way.
Also gets a read that the third was nearby. And that's enough for the bomb to be recovered, and now take this to a 2v1 where Snoopy would have to ace.
Clear out the bottom connector. Realize nobody's at the A site. Just hoping to catch the timing, potentially if they go towards B. But these are taking their sweet time on this approach. I don't know if no Stoop's going to get this info here.
Oh, falls out up top, but now Thieves head in a swivel. Either hear it or just Spidey sense tingling, turn, find it, and that's just a huge play from Envoy up top at mid to get those 2 kills back. Oh.
I feel feel like Envoy always has plays like that, especially in Search and Destroy. You're thinking, okay, man advantage, there's no way in hell we should lose this round. We're all running around together. But he times it to perfection on the pinch and towards office by finding a double and then getting out of dodge. But Snoopy doesn't spot anything there. They're hugging the walls. It's a beautiful play there from the Thieves to not get the bad timing on their end. Tied 1-1 now.
He gets the right read on it, just cannot quite find that first gunfight. All right, see what Snoopy can provide here. Get the controller cam from Scuff up just to see how cracked out the movement is. It is one of the most fun POVs in the league, and it's already a first blood. Read on to Scrap, backs away from the fight, doesn't need to overchow, and we're gonna get a 4v3 here for Boston, resetting.
What's the play call here? He's gonna wrap back over towards garage side and Scrap. He hears the door break, so he's gonna be ready for a couple of these. He's able to find a double, make it a 2v2, and Hydra with 36 HP gains the info as well.
Nade does not connect, but look at Ghosty on the quick wrap. Trying to stop them from exiting. Boston will hold their ground, kill the noise, and try to create a little bit of doubt here for LA in terms of have they backed all the way up? Have they pushed forward? And it looks like the Thieves will re-clear Lambo and get the info they want. Cammy deciding how he wants to plant this is actually going to allow Thieves a chance to come back over, but it's supporting nade from Awakening keeps them away, and we're going to get the 2v2 post plant.
Yeah, that's actually such a beautiful nade there from Awakening. But now Hydra's not going to waste any time.
Why would you? Cammy able to find the first. Hydra. Oh, ice in the blood just sticks it. Cammy doesn't even bother checking. I think you're right. It's just you get that little separation with the nade. You're thinking we can reset this on our own terms, but LA just immediately counter with the same kind of persistence. Jumping on, hitting the defuse. That works.
Yeah, I just don't understand the play right there from Awakening. Like, once we get that first blood onto the player on site, we need to put ourselves in position to watch over the bomb.
Yeah, not be back by boat.
Yeah, he was watching on the backside of 10 area. If you put yourself towards top office, you have an angle to make sure that the bomb is safe, but Hydra does not waste any time there. Sticks the defuse, go see the bait. That works out there for LA. Now they're going right into their aggressive play over towards B.
Yeah, and this time Thieves just holding back a little bit after seeing Boston play so aggressively through fences, but it doesn't stop Snoopy. Another double on the outside. This time the bomb not being carried as a part of that play, though. So LA will have a little bit of freedom to try to work around this 2v4 with a bomb in hand, but a lot of work to be done here to try to even see a bomb site, let alone plant.
So far, Boston have thrown away 2 rounds now where they have had the man advantage. It's not in a position to either wrap back into the wrong player or just catch really bad timing. But in 4v2, everyone's still roaming around together. Envoy in a position to almost find one. But now it's Scrap left in a 1v4.
There's not a lot of room to go over back towards open hall, and Boston will shut that down. Snoopy, a big difference maker already, at least on the defensive side. Provided the opening first bloods that they needed. He's actually got 3 of the 4 rounds worth of first bloods at this point. That's a nice little up and over. Feels the advantage for the second. Great replay cam, as Snoopy is good for the majority of the kills here in this round.
He's just Mr. Out of Fence right now. So for LAT, probably use a couple stuns and nades to potentially put him out of that position, because he's been a difference maker so far in the 2 defensive rounds for Boston. Tied 2-2 now. Snoopy on a heater. But we just got to play our man advantages a little bit better. You realistically should be up 4-0 this S&D.
We're going to get a little bit of a mad dash here over the top of Rock. Defensive nade, stun, both being tossed, as the stun had already given information to LA that there was at least some sort of Boston presence over towards Lambo. They don't like the look of that, so now you back up. Cammy, who was on a kind of a solo mission here over towards A, has not seen anything either. So Boston will use that as a chance to jump on and say, okay, no one here, we'll just go ahead and plant.
Bob's going to get planted for free. No one in a position on the side of the Thieves to potentially spot the exit, but everyone rallying over towards 10 side. Trying to make sure you clear out top secret. Looks to be cleared out because Scrap's in that position.
Yeah.
But Boston is stalling out a lot of this game clock so far.
Here comes the first play. Nice initiation from Purge. Clears out connector. That gives Boston's post plant a little bit of space to work with over the middle map. Scrap does take down Snoopy, though. Here's the pinch from Purge. Good for 1, and the help is good enough for Cammy to just hold on top of the bomb site as he finds the final couple. And that is just a really good, clean rewrap from Boston. Gets the read that, okay, LA are putting their defensive numbers over towards the top of Rock. We can just go to Cammy's direction where he hasn't seen anything, and it works out beautifully.
Yeah, and they did that with so much pace as well. They didn't waste any time because they had basically every single player over towards that garage side. By the time they decided to hit that rotation, when they gained that early information, they did not hesitate on the play. They said, okay, there's multiple people on this side. Let's not waste any time on the objective. Let's instantly get it down. When you're able to stall out the first 15 seconds and then be the initiator, on the side of Perch to find that first blood makes it so much easier to hold down your post plant. Boston in the advantage now.
I just love that they're not playing reactive. Still playing their own game. 4 in a row still for Cammy. 8 and 3 overall for Snoopy. Hydra not on the board yet. Not often you say that, especially in Search and Destroy. 2-2 split though for Thieves on this offense, showing force through B. Has Boston leaning that direction. A couple of shots also come out over towards those back canopies, but the bomb is meanwhile making its way towards A, and Snap has found first blood out again.
Look how fast though Boston are though. The bomb's not even going to get planted. Perch is able to take care of Envoy. But Scrap in a position to find a trade. 2v2 now with Snoopy at 61 HP. But Awakening is able to keep him alive, and neither one of these players were in a position to instantly contest it. So now you have no idea where they just went.
Yeah, and I like this from Boston. Get out of the low ground, put yourself in position to re-wrap office. Actually, no, they're going to go over towards 10. And another quick commitment on the objective here for LA. Snoopy, though, gets the gun up quick enough to find Ghosty. Finds the AR, and now it's just down to can they find Hydra, which they do quickly. And a nice 1v2 there.
How many times did we praise Optic for their ability early on in this game?
Is that you?
I don't know what I'm hearing right now.
Boston, they get the round win. I love that initial play call right there from the breach to realize, okay, the only player we had sitting over towards that A site was Camby. He instantly falls, and they know that if that bomb gets down and then they get themselves in that post-plant setup, it's going to be a lot more difficult to break them down. So they set the tone through bottom connector. Perch is able to stop the bomb plant from going down. And an Awakening makes it a 2v2 and resets on the round for Boston. So now have a hefty 2-lead advantage.
Do you throw something crazy into the mix here for Boston with this lead? Try to catch LA off guard. Similar setup as the last round. Again, that game plan that they had from the last offense did not go as intended. Cammy was playing a solo mission. They were looking to get some force through B. And this time, there is no resistance. So they're immediately going to push on through and just hop for a plant. Does LA have a chance to retake or even contest this early? The answer is no. And now you keep your eye a little bit on the Cammy to see what his timing is on this long flank.
He's going to take his sweet time on this late pitch. Because he knows his teammates still have rock control. Yet to be able to find an opening kill.
Here he
Perch
comes
strikes for the first, but here comes Gamby on the bench. Lines up the first, lines up the second. It's a 1v3, and that's a quick round there for the breach to be at game point now.
And that's exactly what the game plan was meant to be in their last offensive round. This time they don't get the read that there are any LA nades. You just immediately jump forward, you trust your numbers. At worst, you have a 3v2. So why not just go ahead and hit for a plant, throw shoulders to the backside of the bomb site, make sure no one challenges you through open, and then Cammy can make the route as soon as he knows where the recontest is coming from. Absolutely perfect from Boston.
They are making beautiful plays right now. This is their best search and destroy so far in the season, and they are showing why. Because there's no hesitation on their play calls. Every single time they're committing on a site, they're just like, all right, no one's here, let's get the bomb down. All right, they're here, instantly wrap back and get the bomb down on the other side. No hesitation on their side. That's what allows them to be at game point currently.
Also helps when Hydra is 0-6. One away from being in the agency.
Damn it.
Indeed. We'll see if he can find anything over here towards topside vines. 2v4 early though. Boston winning the opening first blood battle convincingly. And Hydra will be sent to the 007 agency as Boston pull off a flawless round in a 6-2 search and destroy.
That was all teamwork makes the dream work and preparation on the side of Boston Breach. Understanding who you were going to play in round number one, realizing what the maps were most likely going to be in this matchup. And thankfully, it was your best search and destroy highlighted here on the Hasi for map number 2. Because realistically, they should have won that map 8-0.
Oh,
they
facts.
threw away a 3v2,
Yeah.
they threw away a 4v3, but every single time they went on that offensive side, their play calls were absolutely beautiful. You find 6 first bloods, you're most likely going to walk away with the round win, but Thieves are just a little bit late to react to things on that map right there.
I agree, and I think there's just a level of, I think in particular, you look at those most recent 2 Boston offenses. It's the same 3-1 split up, and you can see how they mold and adjust depending on what they're receiving from the defense. It never really felt like they allowed LA to do what they wanted to do because, like you mentioned, the quick game calling in the mid-round. You're seeing nades over the top from B. All right, well, let's go back over to Cammy's direction. There's nothing there. All right, we'll plant. We'll let Cammy come back to us. It just works out really beautifully when you have those protocols so well ironed out. So great stuff from Boston. And you got to keep in mind that this comes after a bit of a resurgence after the really, really slow start on Vault. Cammy, Snoopy start to pick things up. They get this to a pretty close map number 1. Does that change the dynamic of the series in your mind?
A little bit, because Cammy didn't struggle in that map, number one. He was here to play. It's just they were playing from the consistent back foot on a map like Vault, where like if you're not getting the spawns, you're most likely going to lose it. But that was a heavy momentum gainer there in that S&D to now, in my mind, make this a very good series.
We're still looking at possibly the 2-4-5 though, because LA is just really good at control. We'll see what the Death thinks as we head back over for our mid-break.
Not very often you're going to see Hydra drop numbers like that,
Not often at all.
causing problems in Search and Destroy for one of our all-stars at the event. Maven,
And
we all
called
called LA Thieves. Boston's 1-1.
And call that map, though. You thought that might go that way.
It's just some maps that they like to play that LA will allow in this series, just given the way that Boston's map pool works. And, you know, you see it, Snoopy early on in that Search and Destroy, electrifying, just taking Secret away from them, throws the entire dynamic off for the LA Thieves, works out in the end with a big dub.
Ali, let's take a look at some of the highlights from that game number 2. Search and Destroy. We mentioned Boston. They have a strong map pool. Certain maps can play in their favor.
Yes.
They're able to expose it here against LA Thieves. Do they have more of this in the tank?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about one of the best Search and Destroys for the side of Boston Breach, right? 8-4. But on the flip side, it's a top 2 S&D for LA Thieves as well. I just think this was some really good VOD review from the side of Boston Breach. It felt like everything they were doing, and the caster said it best, it was concise decision making. And obviously, Snoopy, Secret, bottom and top were his playground. They were unable to train him multiple times in those situations, which closes off a lot of the map. I mean, you even saw when, I believe it was Envoy or Hydra, was trying to hit bottom middle to hit a re-wrap over towards that B side, instantly caught out by the Boston Breach, instantly caught out by Snoopy, and that's going to throw you off for LA Thieves, who's used to be able to getting through some of these open lanes and causing some chaos.
Yeah, I just think it's just such a great way to set pace on this map early on, right? You take it away, and then we want to do a conventional push over towards fences. We know that they're going to be trying to gain that control back, and once they do, we're just going to finesse our life on the fence. We can get into Barn. You saw Awakening playing his life and just allowing free kills for the rest of his team. That was excellently played and kind of speaks to what we talked about with the extra time you had before champs to prepare, Clint.
And now it's like a little interesting in the sense, okay, like Thieves are heavily favored in the control, but like Breach has been 2 forms of control. They've been free, or they had that stretch where they were
Stage 3.
a very solid control team. Will we get that control? Now listen, this would be a monumental upset. The fact is the Search and Destroy was a must win for Breach. They need to come away with the dub, but hell, even the map 1 was like more competitive than I expected once they got going.
Within 60.
Yeah, and Ali, you were talking to me in the green room. You know, you walked past the practice area for the Boston Breach, and there were some interesting things you said about it.
Yeah, Boston didn't get a warm-up heading into this, so it makes the map 1 make a little bit more sense in the sense that, like, Snoopy was not starting off hot, same with Cammy. They were, like, double neg. On the flip side of LA Thieves, obviously, you give them minutes, they're going to take a mile. So when you're coming in cold and you have got Hydra dropping 20 and 20 on your forehead at the midway of the game, and Envoy going on a spree, it's going to be difficult. That's why we saw near the end Boston Breach starting to turn up just a little bit. But again, you got to give hands to LA Thieves. The rotations, the fundamentals were on point during this fall.
Yeah, and you know, there's life in this series, Clint. I mean, you look at the rewind, 3-1 if you're Boston on that map. Extremely comfortable when we do get to that game 4, so you can afford a loss here. Like, you're looking at a game 5 if you're Boston.
Listen, the fact is, one team should be feeling a lot of pressure, and one team's not feeling any. I mean, like, Thieves are a favorite for this, a heavy favorite for this tournament. I mean, Breach, like, again, you're, like, blessed to be here. So there are levels to this. I think the fact that you tie up 1-1, like, if the control were to slip away from Thieves, you're okay. You're feeling it, bro.
Well,
like,
yes, if Thieves lose this control.
Wait, that would be insane. Thieves have not lost control in this matchup yet.
Yeah, I do not think they're going to lose control here. But if they were to, ooh, this shifts the time.
Let's take a look at some of the Thieves numbers here, because it has been a fun ride to champs for our #1 team on the regular season. They walked away with 2 trophies, and they've done it through the respawn. Search and Destroy, not bad as well. Second best in the league at 40 and 22.
They can do it all.
131 to 55. That is just a ridiculous success rate in this league.
No, Control, what's funny is the most dangerous game mode for them, even though they are disgusting across the board. Like, even when they went up against Boston Breach most recently, it was 3-0'd on the Vault Control. Like, this is a team that is very difficult to take down in the Middle East series.
It's the 8th month of the game. Will they get their 10th loss? It's time to find out. We send it over to Shift and Study.
Yeah, the stats are compelling, to put it plainly. It is hard to find vulnerabilities into the LA Thieves, but teams have surprised them in the past. And I think, again, you look at this, if you're Boston, this isn't a map you're scheduling yourself out and saying, we have to win map 3 against these guys. I think you're trying to build your series around the control. But if you do start to find some success and you're able to kind of surprise this LA team, take map number 3, wow, that changes the whole dynamic of this entire series.
Oh, yeah, without question. Like, if you're LAT, you're thinking, all right, let's just spawn into map 4 already.
Yeah.
We know that we're playing Vault. We only have 3 losses on the entire season. We're the best team on offense. We're the best team on defense. So Boston realistically should stand no chance here. But the good thing for Boston is that the last time that they played, which was Major 4 qualifiers, you played this map versus them. You knew exactly what they were going to throw at you, and realistically, it's going to come down to the slaying. Boston, they can somewhat hang on the defensive side, but LA Thieves sometimes get lost with those SMGs. I know Hydra's definitely looking to make up for that 0-7 in that search and destroy here on the control, but if Boston can figure out this side of the map, which is their offenses, where they do tend to get outslayed by 6 to 7 kills, then it's anyone's game.
Oh, well, there's Envoy. First 2 kills go the way of LA. Cammy stunned, but he was able to find 1 trade before Hydra gets involved, and LA are already putting the pressure on the Boston spawn. Good rebuttal, though, as a couple of kills come through for the Breach, and Awakening has put some pressure on towards the B zone.
Big
Good
win
versus Envoy. And now all of a sudden, you got a second member here trying to stack this, but there are no trophies yet, and that means nades are going to find value to get them off the zone.
Yeah, that's MTech's hit Awakening right in the forehead. That allows LA Thieves to have an easy approach to shut down that early B pressure. But Boston don't waste any time. They hit the transition over towards A. First segment already locked in. You're just looking for the trades from Cat and double doors. And Cammy does not make the right decision on who he wants to shoot, but at least finds one and gives Snoopy a one-on-one to still hold the map.
Second tick of progress looking likely, especially with the follow-up onto Envoy. And now you've got the stack for all 3 ticks. Gonna be an extra minute on the clock. LA looking to play for some exit eliminations. They find 1 on a Hydra. Envoy and Scrap follow up, and that will pretty much suffocate the Breach from being able to find a transition to B.
Their first go around on their breakout. Worked out perfectly with Purge and Awakening, finding a double on their both ends. Now LAT are just gonna take their time. Allow the game clock to keep on ticking down, lock down every single lane, and force Boston to work the OE.
They're doing a nice job of avoiding the spawn trap, though. I will say that much. That is something that Thieves have been able to really pack a punch on against a lot of teams, especially on this map. The Purge now pushing forward. Couple of kills come through it. Hold on a second, a little bit of an Uno reverse card. Now all of a sudden, Boston have a bit of a spawn trap going with pressure with 2 members on the zone. Making 3 stacked up onto B. First tick is done. Second on the way. Purge with another elimination topside card. And how about this for Boston? Looking good for all 3 ticks over towards the B zone. LA trying to get there to contest, but they cannot get there in time. And Boston with a statement to open up Vault.
That's beautifully played right there out of the Breach. 2 times where they go clean 4 dead, and on their first break attempt out of the spawn, they instantly find it. That's unreal, because if you're LA, you're thinking, all right, this is the map we usually play. We got AR, so we're going to lock down the lanes, but they were just not really valuing their life in certain situations. Hydra gets caught on the pinch. That's the worst first kill to have, because now you know our flank is going to be watched. No one's going to be able to work in that angle. So if we win these couple more gunfights to the front side, it's going to be a GG on the round. And Purge is taking so much space with the AR and the SMG in hand. Allowed Boston off the respawn to retake the map control and realistically dominate that opening offense.
I mean, Boston's playing with that same confidence that we saw when they upset LA long while back on land. Just not backing down whatsoever. Trophy systems in. Hydra immediately onto the point. Envoy for first blood and second. And now you got an opportunity here with a free route from Envoy to get over towards B to get a little bit of progress on both zones at the same time. But once again, Boston, a nice rebuttal, able to get some control over towards Palms and only do 1 tick of progress earned so far onto A.
Now they sort of have the numbers to work their way back on in, but big one-on-one secured there from Ghosty and Hydra. Still maintain mid-map control. Ghosty gets the info on the last 2. Second segment already locked, and Thieves realistically should now be able to extend time early on. And this is not good if you're Boston, because now everyone's coming off the respawn. You got no map control to go with it. The big opening kill there from Awakening gives them another shot.
Yeah, but there's already a double stack on the B point. First tick of progress just about gone. As Scrap comes off spawn and will join the effort on the point. Hydra, the only one kind of playing forward to deny the defense space to work with. That only finds 1 of the 2 in front of them. So a chance here for Boston trying to get themselves set up, but the first tick already gone, and the kills are not stopping as LA get right back onto the zone.
Oh yeah, trophies are down. Got a double stack going. Second segment about to be locked, and now you're just banking on a route that Snoopy can potentially find through the middle of the map. He finds an opening kill. A car bomb is still available there for Awakening, and now that's 3 dead with Ghosty on 6 in a row. Just going to value his life in towards bottom vault. Allow his teammates off the respawn to get closer before he decides to make a play. But he's got a cruise miss as well in the back pocket.
He's just looking for information to find out where these Boston defenders have gone, and there we go. That will be the clearance of mid-map. 19 plays 14, major advantage in the lives for Thieves as they make their way back over towards B. Cammy will fall. He is the only defender near the B point. And with Snoopy also dropping, now it's just down to the last two Breach members. Purge over towards the backside of the car. It's going to be surrounded as Hydra's on the chase, and that should be enough to try to keep at least one member alive on the zone. Third tick of progress looking likely as Hydra turns back around to find the kill. Envoy shuts down the reinforcements over mid-map, and it's an offense for offensive start here on Control.
Thieves get all 6 segments. That one realistically wasn't as dominant as Boston's, but they got a lot more from it. You got cruise missiles now going forward in the rest of these rounds. SMGs are starting to find their timings. And Boston, realistically, every time they went for it on the defensive side and forced themselves to try to fight their way out of art. Just too many angles that Thieves decided to take that never gave them a clean push on in. Tied up at 1, tied up in the segments. Boston, again, need to have a response on offense.
Another slow start in the map here on the respawn for Cammy. 5 in 11. Continues to be kind of a storyline in the AR battle of this matchup, but really this has been respawns dictated by what we're getting out of Envoy and what we're getting out of players like Snoopy, who are, again, doing a nice job of keeping the tempo up for Boston. Purge now the one following up as that opening trade is very successful for Boston. Only has one member alive, that's Envoy, who is able to at least stop this Boston spawn. We'll push him out towards poolside, and now here comes the re-attempt to break for LA.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful play there from Envoy. He realized, okay, I don't have the numbers to fight my way back on in, so let me play for a spawner and then give ourselves the numbers to work our way back towards the 8 point. But once he falls, all of Boston have everything cut off. That was a 5-3 before Cammy does fall. Now this second segment should be locked in. Got to win another 1v1. Snoopy's able to find it. Should find a trade on the Envoy, but again, he finds another massive double. He's made so many big plays in both the respawns so far in this series.
Been the story for a lot of the last couple of really key matches for LA. He may not have the craziest stat line in the world, but the single and double kills that he finds in critical moments have been really pertinent towards LA finding success, and in particular right here, it's enough to stop that second tick of progress before it gets captured and depleted fully. So now Boston back to the drawing board off spawn as they're being crossed up, mixed up, and completely decimated. 2 life advantage with only 35 seconds on the clock here for Thieves.
Yeah, now you got Envoy roaming over towards ammo side. He knows that they're going to try to get a read on him, but Cammy's able to win that one-on-one gunfight. Now you can apply pressure over towards B Street. Ghosty's able to find one. Now you might be forced to make the transition back over towards A. Cammy's not able to win the one-on-one. Snoopy's not able to find a double. Now 20 seconds to go. You only got 1 segment. We got to get it towards A.
Yeah, Purge able to find one over the middle of the map. That'll be enough for him to hopefully stop the clock, and he will by jumping over towards B, re-wrapping back over to A as you have to get the extra 60. And Purge has lost track of 1. Scrap with the knife almost gets 2, but that will be shut down. 9.7 on the clock. Even live count. Keep that in mind, especially if you get the extra 60 seconds. But LA will keep that clock ticking with those eliminations over the middle. Snoopy has to try to do something heroic. And no, going to be shut down. Envoy just enough of a buffer to stop Boston from getting back over towards the A zone, and LA will take the defense.
Yeah, These played out a whole lot better on that defensive side. Just valuing their lives, not really taking risks, or just forcing space that they realistically are not going to find the timing on. They were playing their trades around the middle of the map. Everyone also making it scattered, going back and forth between the points. They had an SMG always behind enemy lines to at least find one and keep them on their toes. They only allow 1 segment to get away from them there. So now if you're LA, we get 2. We got defense around number 5 just in case.
Yep. With how successful they were in the last offense, they're probably thinking, let's just get this thing done now. And like you said, let's just go to map 4. See how it goes. Need to see Cammy start to get right back into the mix here for Boston. 3-1 split off here for the Boston defense. Hard focus over towards A. They don't really even see an opening breakoff attempt because everything is making their way over through vault to B. That's shut down. 3 straight eliminations for Boston. Ghosty kind of forced to have to use this as his battleground. Has gotten 1. Pistol out, not going to be allowed to get anything more than that, and LA are sent back to respawn.
All map control now in favor of Breach. Love the fact that they were able to read that early play coming in from LA. Preparation again is starting to show on the side of Boston. They find every single kill and defeat besides Envoy. Another massive double. Gives his team an opportunity off the respawn to get out of their spawn for free. Now Hydra, your turn to get a couple spawners.
Yeah. Able to track down 2 defensive players, and that should be enough for a couple of freebies here for Hydra. focus for LA is purely on the A zone, and yeah, Hydra will find 2 before being traded. Follow-up for LA, a little bit more slow than you would think it would be. That allows an opportunity for Cammy to kind of be surprising from the back. Takes down 2, and once again, just keeps the clock moving. 30 seconds of the clock, a little less than that is Scrap. Is able to, like you mentioned, find 2, almost gets the 3rd onto Awakening, but him and Purge do the nice job and keep the clock moving.
Now it's a 1v1. Purge is still in a position with the advantage, but with 100 HP to win that one-on-one gunfight. Now there's only 18 seconds left. LAT, they were banking on potentially closing out the map here, but now you need a couple segments to guarantee yourself defense. You find a double, you're able to hop on the 8 point. That's already 3 dead. Now the stack should be good enough to at least secure 2.
Yeah, Boston really cannot challenge this with any sort of force. So yeah, it's not even just the 2 segments. It's going to be a 4-man stack for an extra 60 seconds worth of time. 3 life advantage though for Boston. Set up exactly how they want to be. Over the top and really around this B point. Snoopy able to find 1, looking on the overextension. Purge working on the mid-map control, able to find himself 2, and Boston will grow their life lead to now 6.
Now Cammy trying to value his life in towards ammo. Unfortunately, Envoy spawns right next to you. He was ready for the gunfight. Now you're banking on your ARs to hold down the long distance lane to go 2 for 2 in a split. Now Snoopy on the pinch, gonna find the 3rd player. Thieves all spawning over towards Waterside, and they only have 35 seconds left to go.
Well, they've got an opportunity to potentially keep playing through Pool, but you can see LA are trying to get Snoopy out of topside gold, and he is.
My God, that guy's eating.
Stop saying. Trying to finish it off, and will eventually get the kill. A little drama there between Snoopy and Hydra, and Snoopy will be able to reset this and find more. Okay, that's enough damage to likely win the round, but like you mentioned, the damage in the ticks has already been felt. And beyond that, there is still 1 more chance here for Thieves to get on the B point with 8.5 on the clock.
First, got to get something done through mid-double doors. The car bomb is going to have that player weak, and you're going to allow your team to just fly on in and find that double. It's a 2v8. Purge last man standing, but Boston are going to be able to tie up the game. So just in those final 15 seconds before time gets extended, they would have really loved to not give up those segments, because now they got to go back on the offense for round 5.
We'll have trophy systems to help support this opening offensive break, though. The question will be, do you commit and just try to get the early 60 again over towards A, or do you have something that may move this LA defense around a touch? Because honestly speaking, their first 2 offensive rounds, their breakoffs have not been all that great. They've staved off the LA Thieves spawn trap, but off the break, LA has had an advantage when they played on the defensive side so far.
Yeah, we just got to stay away from Envoy, because I'm pretty sure both times on their offense, they get 2-pieced early into the round. Still puts himself in the right position at the right time. But the break off is usually everything. In control. Boss is going to take a different approach, work the OE through Waterside, and have a different angle here at Cat.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to find Envoy through Pool. First 2 kills go to Boston. No trades beyond that until Scrap gets involved at Square, but he really can't do too much with that position. So Boston will have an early pause of the clock, looking at the first bit of progress. Push out from Snoopy met with resistance. Awakening has to make a decision. He tries to commit forward, and in that effort, there's Envoy. Another double for him, and Cammy, the last one left alive, will put a little bit of pressure to keep the clock paused at B.
A minute and 6 seconds left to go. And all of your teammates are coming off the respawn, so just try to give them a little bit more time to make plays happen. Purge on 30 and 18. Really been a difference maker for Breach, but Hydra this time for yourself to find a double. You have the numbers to punch your way back on it. Cammy, can you get some done? Absolutely nothing, and now Awakening, last man, fall, Thieves, mid-map control again.
Yeah, team kill though does leave an opportunity here for Boston to quickly reapproach the A point. The only question is, can they find Envoy? And he's already found 1. A little turnaround, almost gets a second, but goes through there to follow up on the trade. And Boston are only left with the trophy system and 2 members over towards the B point. That's not going to feel all that great, so Cammy will bounce back over towards A, where once again, Ghosty's there to meet him, and LA defensively continue to keep a bit of an edge over the objective.
And now you lose 2 initial gunfights, so Snoopy on the bench has to make something out of nothing. He's able to win on one-on-one. Purge strikes for the second. Cammy off the respawn finds the 3rd. So the stack should be good enough at A to extend the game clock. The only one that you have to worry about is going to be Hydra. He's going to work his way through Cat. Cammy going back and forth on the timing, and I don't know if Hydra's going to be in a position to contest it, or is he? Because he finds 1, makes it scrappy, and they make it only 20 seconds now. Boston do not extend the time.
Cammy coming back over to the point, though. There is no depletion of that progress, so it's a 4-life edge, 14 plays 10. Minute 15 on the clock. Envoy on the long route around the back. So a lot of pressure for the Thieves to just at least trade from the front to give Envoy some time to stave off this play towards B. Here comes the action. Envoy, Hydra, they find the first 3 eliminations, and it will not be much damage dealt on the B point.
Envoy could just value his life over towards ammo side. Know that all of Boston is spawning towards water. They have to try to work this OE and waste a lot of time on the wrap back. Goshi just wants to make sure everything is safe. Everyone is accounted for. Use it strictly off of information. If you can find a kill, even better. But 45 seconds to go, 8v9.
Envoy still behind the play. LA's defense finding kills from the front. Has Boston just essentially flooding through mid-map. And look at how much patience LA is executing on, just allowing this to happen, knowing that they have to work through these AR hard sites, but there's the first 2 kills. Boston now on the point. Scrap's the only one who is here. He'll fall immediately. Envoy is still deep behind this play, but is he in a position to do too much with this? 8v5. Hydra gets the opener. 2 ticks of progress going to come through. Envoy still not part of the play yet. Here comes the 3rd tick of progress. Can Boston find the 2nd map by winning it here? Scrap on the point, good for 2. Pistol out. Trying to find the player top side art, and everything will reset with 18 on the clock.
And Purge is finessing. He's able to find a one-on-one gunfight, able to find the 2nd. Now it's a 1v5. Scrap, can you make a Cammy play? No, you cannot. And the Breach take the control versus LA. They haven't been able to do it all season, but when it matters the most, they get a gun to go up 2-1 in the series.
Unbelievable. And I have to wonder, what was it that was keeping Envoy so far out of the play? He was stuck over towards gold, it felt like, for 45 seconds in that last 3. I don't know if they just didn't realize that after the Hellstorm came in, that Boston was not going to re-wrap back over to Palms. It was all going to be a play through Vault Stairs and over towards Lion, but Envoy is just not a part of that play whatsoever. Scrap is left on an island, and to be fair, he produces, but there just isn't enough help to come back over to the middle of the map.
Yeah, it's just tough, though, because if you're Envoy, you're stuck between a really hard decision to make.
Absolutely.
Because you know you're the only player out of your spawn. You know that Boston know your position over towards ammo, but if you die early on, then Boston have a 4v3. All they have to do is watch in front of them. So he was just begging on his teammates to find a little bit of kills off of the respawn, but the only one that was able to find a double and still in the man disadvantage was Scrap. By the time Envoy gets into play, they're simply outnumbered, and Purge, just a magnificent play there to finesse his life in towards out, value his life the way that he did it, and find a multi-kill in the biggest moment for Boston to take the advantage here.
41 and 22 from Purge on top of that. Just casually dominating the best control team in the game here on the world's biggest stage. And it just, again, like, I have to go back and rewatch it. I'm wondering if this is Envoy just thinking that there's going to be players through street, he doesn't find it. Maybe he's not trusting that all 4 members of Boston are hitting from the front, but regardless of it, in the life disadvantage situation with pressure on the zone, LA just cannot move with what's happening with this hit from the front. Again, Scrap does a decent job, but he was on his lonesome for a lot of those final moments, and you can kind of see it here. Envoy gets a couple, and then it's after this point where he's just kind of stuck behind the play, and eventually gets traded out. Purge able to find the kills they need, and then the flood from the front is just enough to take down Scrap.
It's just insane how much confidence Purge is playing with right now, because those are plays out of SMGs you don't really want to see taking that much of a risk, but when it works, it's definitely going to show. That's an unreal play out of that young man in his first ever champs on the big stage, making big time plays versus the best control team in the game. Goes almost positive 20. All of his teammates smiling from cheek to cheek because they know that guy just took over. And now if you're Boston, you're feeling fantastic going into this map number 4.
Yeah, 3-1 on it, I believe, is the numbers. And a lot of that has come in the last couple of weeks of this regular season. They did start off playing this map at the beginning of the year pretty darn well. Same can be said for LA. They've only dropped the map once, and it was a nail-biter versus Atlanta. But really, again, you just look at this map and you say, we got this. I mean, we've been playing it just as much as LA have, really, in the last bit of the regular season. And as you look kind of over what happened at Major 2, this is how the upset had happened there. It was by way of both the respawns there. They've also taken down LA on land, or online rather, pardon me, where they won both search and destroys. But I don't know, it just feels like one of those maps that it could go either way. And I think if you are Boston, we talked about the 2-4-5, but map 5 does not feel great going into an LA team that's won 7 of their last 7 on red card search. So I don't know, could happen here.
Well, I'm excited to see this former Boston, man, because we said it before the series started. You want to make LA Thieves uncomfortable. You weren't able to do it in that map number 1. LA were probably thinking, all right, the control is going to be locked down But since they lose their best game mode on the season, now their backs are against the wall potentially for another upset versus the squad on the opposite side, rocking green. Boston have all of the momentum on their side. They have been able to add Rewind Hardpoint to the mix at the beginning of stage 4, finding a lot more consistency in their game. They don't really bank on their rotations. They most likely are going to bank on their breaking percentage. But you need your ARs to set up. You need to have the power spots from P3 to P4 and not allow LA to dominate the same way they did on map number 1.
One of the things that we definitely have noticed about Boston when they do find success on this map is when they can pull out multiple SMGs. They can play inside of generators, things of that nature. But you're right, it has to be, again, when the map asks you to pull out a third AR, you have to win those opening gunfights. Can Boston muster a major upset? LA making their way over, trying to get to map number 5 as we head into Rewind in the opening. Good for Thieves, the first 2 kills.
Oh yeah, you stand no chance. You saw those nades over the top. Everyone one shot as soon as they worked their way back in towards glass. And that's already a clean for them with Thieves spawning on the preferred side of the map that they want. Chained it early on over towards P2, but now the second attempt here for Boston. All out aggression through the middle of the street. Purge trying to line up the third, but the break is good enough, and the spawn's flipped.
Yeah, Purge is gunning right now. Definitely feels he's got the hot hand. Up and over. Tough to get a read of where exactly LA were contesting from. Cammy can only follow up for 1 trade. Snoopy in the final battle also falls. So opening Hardpoint will be won by Thieves. Now the focus heads over to the bottom left-hand side of the minimap as we look towards B2.
Boston are finding every kill in the feed so far. A lot of pressure over through Burger's side. 2 players from LA going to spawn across the map. And Boston now have the side of the map that they want. They just don't have themselves in the proper positions. Ghosty contesting over from Cop Car. Hydra here to assist him. He knows it's going to be all out pressure through the backside of Yellow, but Boston are winning the gunfights. 2v2 in the split.
Spawns are still up here for Boston, but the trophy system and Hydra's position is a tough one to wiggle him out from, and that's enough for Awakening to eventually push forward, get the pistol win, and Boston will win the spawns and the opening time largely on to P2. From the front, though, LA quick to recontest. Ghosty in as the challenger, and, well, he's just got really nowhere to go. Snoopy's double has Boston feeling good, at least initially, over to the top of B2.
Locate the last player in Hydra. Now you can get yourself back into the A speed to take yourself a little bit of a lead. But now in the final 20 seconds, you need to find these kills and get aggressive through the front side. To potentially flip these behind you, but Envoy just being a nuisance. Again, almost lines up with double, but these are just creating so much space to be free at that next HP.
Yeah, looking really solid. That last little play forward, finding as much success as it has. As you mentioned, gives Scrap just all of the world to play with over the top of P3. Ghosty's nades, trying to create some more space as Boston are trying to wrap this in through DVD. Envoy for 1, but traded by Snoopy. And now Boston have a chance to actually pinch onto this Hardpoint. Pending they can take care of Hydro, who is just running around and doing what he wants, and that's the clue to pistol whip on the Cammy.
And everyone falls on the side of Boston besides Snoopy. He's trying to contest for these back spawns. Hydra knows. I'm still trying to locate where the hell he has gone, but you're able to find him. Now all of your focus on towards Burger. Still 30 seconds here at the P3. Thieves are trying to chain the P3 over to the P4. Boston, no, we can't give up this time because we have to try to break through midstream.
Yeah, they're just not finding the kills, though. Team Nade helps. Boston will get a momentary break over the scrap time. Spawns are still up, though, for LA. You can see what Boston are trying to do. Hold on to the scrap where you can. Get Cammy to start to work on a route through the middle of the map, but in that moment, LA recover, find every single kill, and that will be a full team wipe and setting up LA perfectly for B4 and Beavers.
And now let's see how Boston is going to set up a break here at P4 because it's basically the same impact that it has on a map like Vault. Very difficult to find angles of approach. You have to work your way in instant gunfight battle angles. And so far, they have yet to win any. Purge finds the trade onto Scrap. Hydra instantly there for the response. Awakening finds one, but it still does not matter. Thieves keep on trading. They're still dominating the map.
Yeah, and this is one of those hard points that we talk about when it comes to pulling out more ARs and just having to win those long-range gunfights. Has not worked out really whatsoever here for Boston as LA will double up the score. Last hit here, though, with 25 seconds to Hardpoint. Not insignificant until Ghosty gets a shutdown, forces Awakening in, and there's scrap time here for Boston. Not bad at all.
That's big time right there because Boston, no, we're going over towards P5. That's where we like to have fun. Whip out an extra SMG. Just consistently play trade. Snoopy on 2 in a row. Spawns already flipped. You have one player trying to contest at the old time, but everyone from Boston going to be trying to set up over towards Gen side. We're all losing our one-on-ones. Thieves win the rotation. Now you need a break.
Cammy first one to try to challenge here for Boston. Stuns and nades for LA, littering the front door as Cammy tries to push his way in. Finds one, but can't quite get the hip fire on the scrap for a second. Enough for Purge to penetrate. Pinch on the way here from Boston with the off spawn, but it does not get there in time to help Purge on the break. So LA, once again, continue to grow their lead.
You know exactly where all the pressure's going to come in from. Already find the initial 2 kills. That player's going to be weak. That's already 3 dead. And you're just holding down Chens. Absolutely perfect. Consistently growing the lead. Envoy finds another double. You're already up by 70. Let's just step aside and go to listening with the squad in red.
I'm going mid. Nice. Keep blocking. P2. Where you at, Tucko?
P2, one more late in blue.
Yeah, P2.
Came in soup. P2.
Right side crate.
I love side crate. One left side crate.
One crate.
One more crate.
Yo, could be book.
Should be blue.
He's go mid door. Hole.
Right side to bird. Oh, he's hole.
Hole.
He's soda. Soda's the time. Triple gas. Boys.
I'm going single.
Let's go glass in their pocket. Let's go right side.
P2 right now, one shot.
Where'd he go?
On the crate.
Left side. Ah, my bad, Pac. You got left side. Going single.
Inside. Outer.
One PT.
Yeah, single.
Just make time. Just go back. Cover girl on the play, boys.
Go back. They spawn P2.
I hit him 130.
Nice. I'm coming glass 2. Give me a second.
P2, one bullet to awakening going book.
Come here.
Yeah, it's gonna be book. Awakening.
Book. He's gonna be soda. Book right now. Nice, soda. Mid door. Watch out, absolute mid door. Hole. 20 burgers.
First guy book.
Streak for new, bro.
Yo,
win orange. He went orange. Go fast. I knew. I'm the white car. Yo, 2 here. 1 steep left.
There's 3 here. Keep spawned out. We fight this.
On the cop car and 1 white car.
And then on the white car, white car, one shot, 2 graffiti. It looks like 1 shot white car.
What's
Nice. Yo, 2018.
Graffiti is dead. One time in orange and one burning at orange door.
Heard you. I'm coming to you, Paka.
Yeah, coming back.
1 shot orange. 1 bullet orange. I can streak here now.
Yeah,
Streak down, go 20 up.
Deep edge.
Streaking from the white truck. Everyone iron up. Get blue and book control. We're gonna go blue. We're gonna be stuck in orange.
I'm coming blue. Whoever's there.
Alright, listen, 2 in orange, 1 guy front.
Yo, 2 in orange, 1 guy jets.
Yeah, focus the guy jets.
1 shot. Orange 1 shot.
Gen
Yeah,
set.
Cammy left or wait.
Orange weak.
They split. Let's
Nice.
get time. All front. All flip. Great 30 here.
Yeah, big 30. Hold it.
Front crate. On the crate.
1 shot weak. And then maybe blue.
Yeah, more. There's one more. On the crate. Gonna be native.
Outer crate Cammy. 1 shot. I missed. 1 shot outer. Well, two on time.
Use our decks.
2 on the time.
Front deck.
Nice. Let's do this.
Vent weak. Vent in 1 time. Or no, vent.
Nice.
Nice.
I'm going.
There's one else.
Yeah, that guy's pumped up.
At least two of them.
No, I think
No,
Merchant's
2 of them, 100%.
I don't see anything glass.
Nothing less.
He's in yellow.
In yellow.
Touch 1 time.
In yellow on you.
About as polished as it gets. You even hear Ghosty just quarterback in the break attempt where it's going to be when we're calling in the streak. Boston putting together a bit of a comeback effort, but LA continue to find these momentary breaks that continue to give them the lead.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be scary there because Boston, they were dominating that second half at the P1. They were able to win the rotation over towards 2, but thankfully Ghosty, like you said, being the quarterback, setting up the play call to not use the cruise missile on the first attempt since they had the numbers advantage, but on the second, which guaranteed themselves at least 30 seconds off for that P2. You're up by 60. You don't have the spawns that you want for the P4, but who cares? Let's just keep soaking up time.
Might not matter at all. Purge trying to break in from the front. Ghosty going to give him a little bit of space here on the challenge and then immediately step on in. Trophies just to try to support this hold. Again, just dancing with the devil is Ghosty, who's had a great map to this point, but Snoopy does take away 3. Chance now into this big 1v1 over towards New. Cammy with the win. Spawns are still up for Thieves. Cammy does not expect that, and Boston are being held at old. 202-132. You've got Scrap still with this with Ghosty, and it's just down to can Thieves win this next wave and likely win the map with that.
Yeah, they just dominated that wave. Everyone, as soon as that new hill pops, spawns right outside towards the 18-wheeler street. Find every single kill in the feed. Close out the game here at P4. You're Boston, you're trying to find an opening for a gunfight, and so far 2 players already falling. Thieves only need 30 more seconds.
Looking solid if it's not going to happen here to happen very soon. Can't be able to find one from the front, throwing shoulders, just trying to work for his team to get on for a break. Damage is decent, but Ghosty once again doubles up looking for 3, and Dan Ghosty will, he's going to find all 4. Oh, goodness gracious. 30 and 17, 7 in a row, and Ghosty's almost got himself another Hellstorm. A little bit more hardpoint time will get it. Not that they need it. Map will come to an end here momentarily as there's no way for Boston to touch another great hardpoint from LA.
So far, that has been the story on both HPs in this series. Thieves just starting off on the right foot, slaying to the best of them, earning early cruise missiles, but dominating off the rotation, realizing, okay, we need to put ourselves in this position to dominate the map. They won P4 spawns twice. That's all they needed. The P2 spawns, they had it the second go around, but even the first go around when they early lost it, Boston were not able to secure a lot of time with the way that LA Thieves were just contesting or just being nuisances, working so many different angles and truly not allowing Boston to get fully set up. That's just what it looks like. When you win the majority of your rotations, ARs start to dominate. SMGs just need to give you a kill here and there, but that was all Dan Ghosty there on map 4.
Yeah, 30 and 17, 26 non-traded, 218 in the hardpoint, including 16 objective kills. Map MVP to be sure. And now we start to take that into the follow-up conversation point, which is a map that LA is going to like to see. Red card, search and destroy for map number 5. Their overall season record might not be as great as you would think, but it's just the fact that they've won all 7 of their last 7 attempts, and most of them have been beatdowns on that map.
It's insane to watch how consistent they are on a map like Red Card, where you're usually thinking, all right, it's going to be chaos every single time. But they understand on both ends what they need to do. When you take a look back, though, at the game flow, it's just Thieves in full control of the map. When you go from 98 to 147, basically a full 60 hold at the P4, you keep everything scrappy until you get to that point again.
Yeah.
It's just dominance there from LA.
Using the power hard points to really rack up the time, and more importantly, again, they're just a team that if they do get their hold setups, they're not going to let a lot of time go. So here's a look back over how this series has come together to this point. The big surprise happened in map number 3. Boston taking the round 5 control, giving them a chance at this. But the 2-3-5 LA, not a lot of teams have even looked at that as being an opportunity. That would be what would have to happen here for Boston to get map number 5. But again, the storyline here, as much as Boston have gotten some good reps on it, this has been a map that LA have really utilized to great success in the last handful of times they've played it.
It's just looking at Boston and what they did on map number 2. No hesitation on their play calls. You do that same thing here on map 5, you're going to stand a pretty good chance.
I tee it up, he knocks it out of the park. We're gonna go to a break. When we come back, it's map 5 for what could be a huge upset here at the World Championships in Ontario, Canada. Boston looking to do the unthinkable. We'll see if they can find a way to do it when we come back.
Oh my God, Evan!
Come on, man. I promise you these guys are fucking up.
The Scuff Call of Duty collection is $30 off this weekend only. Visit scuff.co/CDL to upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the CDL.
The Esports World Cup is an official partner of the Call of Duty League.
Not being in respawn? I do personally, yeah.
You do personally?
I do too.
I think it would make the viewing experience worse.
What did I just see on my screen? Who was that guy? Did you see that?
No.
What was that guy?
I don't know.
Wait, what happened on the
Citizens over
screen?
there
I
on
missed it.
YouTube.
There was some random guy, like, see how they have the quad box? Like,
Yeah.
there was some random guy just like in the all 4 boxes, and he looked like he was going crazy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the CDL. Wow, what is going on? He's the master fight. This guy is just, that's unbelievable. Okay. I knew we were coming back to him. This is not what I was expecting.
Oh, boys and girls, we've got ourselves a map 5. Won't say it's unexpected, but a little bit. It's map 5 here, LA, Boston. Number 1 versus the number 8 seed and the most recent back-to-back major champs. And with a lot of expectations about making another grand finals here, are sweating a little bit as we head on into the search and destroy. And another fun little champs graphic here for you guys. A little comparison between Snoopy and Envoy, who have both had really good, I would say, just series overall to this point.
Oh yeah, S&D so far has been dominating the side of Snoopy. 1.38, 3.67 KD in that mode. He has been lights out, at least on the map number 2, but Envoy was the difference maker in every single respawn so far. He just finds multi-kill after multi-kill and is never the guy to worry about what numbers he puts up at the end. He's always playing for the W. But now they're in the mix of a game 5.
Yeah.
Probably weren't expecting to be in this position with how dominant they have been so far all season in control, but now you're testing yourself on your best S&D map.
And the thing to think about this here, if you are Boston, is, let's be honest, like when this game first came out and we were watching Boston on red card, whether it was Hardpoint or Search and Destroy, it was Snoopy and Purge running around, creating a havoc. So there is a level of, can they pull that off again? There's some responsibility there for the ARs to provide the support that they need to do so. But this is a David versus Goliath type storyline with the number 1 versus the number 8. And you look at kind of how this series has gone. Again, that's map 2 is the one that really stands out. Boston had every advantage. You even said it word for word. They should have won that search 8-0.
They found basically every single first flood on the map. No hesitation on their play call. But now this is going to be a different beast going up against this LA squad on their best SD map. They have yet to lose the last 7 times in a row that they have played it. First bloods are going to be a big key factor because Boston on the defensive side, they're actually dead last at finding first bloods. But what we saw in map number 2, if they can be successful in that category, this is a mixy one.
Well, the auditorium has woken up. Let's get it on here for map number 5. Opening offensive hit. Starting to build aggressively towards B. Cammy is the only defender here, but he's calling for help. Boston already quickly able to wrap back over, but this is not a commitment here for LA. Just trying to move around Boston as much as they can. Envoy in some trouble, and Cammy will have first blood.
Now you have the man-up advantage if you are Boston. Force them to work one of these objectives. 50 seconds left to play with. Thieves know we don't really have the angles that we want to approach in towards the B site. Someone has to edge their way on out. As the rotation over towards A is coming in.
Love it.
Boston read it perfectly.
Yeah.
Purge finds a second.
Just on a manhunt right now where Boston stacked up together, just trying to run this one down. Hydra traded out. And now it's just down to Ghosty for what would have to be a 1v3. As the teams would look at Snoopy, but shots are coming from everywhere, and Boston able to take the opening defense.
It's a beautiful round there from Boston to just wait for the play to come to them. I love the way that Cammy plays over towards the B side, gains the info, repositions himself, forces LA Thieves to try to put a lot of focus on him, potentially for the first blood, but just stalls out so much time for his teammates to fly right back on in, find that first kill, and then they just played their numbers to close out that round. Boston 1-0.
Love the fact, too, that even in that first blood moment, Boston do not get baited out, as LA were trying to catch a couple members on rotation. You heard them breaking glass, trying to fool the Boston defense at touch, but no. Good discipline coming through, good decision-making. It's a team ace for Boston, everyone finding a kill. Now it's just down to what do you find here in this next offensive attempt, as trophy systems have been earned, and Snoopy not able to get his stun, nor will this nade land to clear off that back player over towards Hedges.
Look how much space. I was already thinking over towards
the wall bang?
Was that a wall bang?
Yes.
With an SMG, you can always count on Taco to whip it around chance time, but now you're going to set up your teammate for the first death. Purge finds another first blood. Boston have the man advantage, but 50 seconds to go. Don't really have an opportunity to hit that rotation back towards A.
It's champs, Jay. We're going to be seeing a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
All the wallbang spots people are finding. I think I saw a Reddit post, someone showing all the different wallbang spots on the different maps. We'll see. Boston will find entry, though, on to B. Committing for the plant. Looks like it will not be tested, so 3v4 retake is the current ask here for Thieves.
Trophies are down as well, so attacks are not going to be very impactful here. Ghosty doesn't have any to work with. It's every single player from Thieves trying to break through the top side.
Scrap does find one. That opens up a little bit of space over towards Ticket's side, but how do you get into this bar position? That's the real question. Ghosty not able to do so. Scrap finds an entry, but nothing beyond that. And Boston will go up early 2-0.
I love these rounds right now out of Breach, just taking their time, allowing Thieves to think that they're taking the map away from them, but then you're running right into the preems on the side of Boston. Quickly up 2-0 in the search and destroy, but we got to take a look at this again.
Notebooks.
He might be hacking. There is no way in hell he should have gained that info onto Cammy. And Cammy's also probably jaw dropped. Like, where the hell am I getting shot from?
For real.
Does not matter, though. Boston 2-0.
Notebooks out, friends. I imagine that's not the last time we'll see that this weekend. But for Thieves, need to find something to work with here early. 3-1 split off. Scrap trying to show some force over towards B. A couple of shots, then he'll back away into the concourse. The rest of Thieves, seeing that there's really not any defensive pressure down low, is just going to take the free stage presence and then likely keep their eyes up towards the windows here as they make their way over towards A.
Yeah, this round's all banking on what Purge can get done. The aggressor over towards the A site.
Wow, I love this.
Might have chose the wrong time to do it. It's going to walk right into the pre-aim. But Envoy, they already find the second kill onto Cammy. And now Awakening Snoopy. Left to try to clutch up on a massive round here. Big Wake's able to find one, but he instantly should get traded. 1v3 for Snoop.
Yeah. And Snoopy's spot does find himself one elimination. The turn to snap is decent, but not the health pool to survive. And initially, I kind of liked the idea of Awakening and Purge right there and try to show some recontest effort. And they get Hydra down to a bullet, but LA respond beautifully and get their first round on the board.
And it just switched up the pacing right there. If they would have waited an extra 5 seconds, Purge potentially finds another first blood on the map. But just got some really bad timing, thinking that they were already around that A site. When you give up that positioning, give that first blood to the opposing team, they instantly find the second and then just play their numbers to close out the round. These finally put one on the board.
Boston's focus on their next offensive attempt, largely over towards mid-hedges once again. Snoopy's nades were denied by a trophy system when he played this position last time, and instead, he's just going to kind of hold. They're going to show a little bit more pressure through stage and then quickly re-wrap back over to B, where Envoy is the only defender inside the site. Just over to the right. I don't know if Purge has heard this. Damage is out, but no kills come through. First 2 kills go to Boston.
That is massive. The fact that no one's going to drop with Envoy in that positioning, and now Hydra knows I got to do something out of nothing. 9 HP in the dream. He is dancing with death, but still in a man disadvantage. Bomb does get planted. Have Snoopy working on this late pitch.
Yeah, they know Snoopy's here, but they push him back, and maybe now they can take their focus to the 2v2 inside the site. It's just such a tough battle to try to fight from if you're Hydra. Nades do land onto Awakening. Does catch the close corner? Sure does. Gets the first. Sprays down over towards the second. Now you got help nearby. Awakening wins one, and Snoopy right there to confirm the trade. It got tight. Hydra nearly created an opportunity, but Boston hold on to the numbers.
These slow and steady rounds right now for Boston are the difference makers in this game 5. They're just allowing the plays to come to them. You go for a split setup. The one player who was camping over towards hedges is keeping everyone from Thieves on a defensive side, on that side of the map. And Envoy just simply gets overwhelmed by the amount of players from Boston approaching over towards B. That's 3 first bloods for Breach. And that's 3 rounds for Breach. 2-round advantage now.
It's just there's also the same level of confidence that Boston were showing on the Hacienda search is starting to come to fruition again on the offensive side here on Red Card, where we're going to show force here that the game plan calls for us to quickly re-wrap back over depending on what we see. And those commitments are working out nicely. Hydra pushing up, trying to keep Boston's defense interested. LA not really creating much noise over towards A, but Boston are just kind of holding their ground, holding their positions, and waiting for the next bit of info.
Again, the preparation on the side of Boston might work out for the first blood because Snoopy knows who's going to be the island player potentially trying to make a late pitch. 50 seconds to go. Your teammates haven't given you any comps. They're being aggressive over towards Hedge. Continue to hold on your setup.
Oh, Cammy's going to find first blood. That's onto the bomb carrier of Envoy. So now Hydra is going to feel like he has to make some sort of a play. Does he have the timing to get through the door? It's Snoopy in position as the defender here at B, but hasn't seen him. Doesn't see him at all. And in the meantime, Scrap has found a trade onto Cammy. So now you've got Hydra as an opportunistic player to just open up this defense completely. Big 1v1 win onto Snoopy there. And the bomb can rotate behind this for a free plant at B.
It's instantly going to get planted as well. Both players from Boston are not in a position to contest it. They're instantly going to try to fight their way back on in. Purge going to slide, puts down shots, sets up Awakening for the kill, 1v2, but simply going to be outnumbered. Thieves, more specifically Hydra, just catches tremendously great timing there onto Snoopy to get by him and eventually take care of him and lock down the B side for his team.
Yeah, I don't think Snoopy's in a position to necessarily, especially with that much time on the clock, to be, I'm not going to play for the one guy to get through. I'm here to try to pop up and stop a plant if it happens. But it's the former of the two that come out, and Hydra wins the round because of it.
And the crazy thing is, like, Snoopy was laying down over towards the pillar. He stands up and sees that the door is open.
Yeah, that's
at
true
that point, he's like, someone is here. I just don't know where the hell he went. And Hydra, just being as quick as he is on the map, is able to get out of dodge and make himself impactful. Thieves now only down by 1. Going to be aggressive through B Street. Scrap taking all of mid-map away. They are getting an early read that the play is going to be over towards Hedge.
The thing about this is, do you know how quickly Boston have gotten their way over, not just through Hedge, but onto the bomb site itself? It's going to be a retake from around the back here for LA. You've got Hydra once again on the route. Does Cammy have the spidey sense to know that there's a player just underneath him? Defense for LA needs to start showing its force, though, because Hydra can't find anything yet.
Scrap just puts down shots to potentially set up Cammy. But he gets the read onto Hydra. Purge finds the second. There's only 20 seconds left to go, and Ghosty is trapped in a corner. Boston again not hesitating on their play calls. Win another offense and are up by 2 again.
4-2 the count. And I think initially you're looking at the round prior to this. You got first blood. You're thinking we should be on match point 5-1 up. So Boston search and destroy.
Lights out right now.
I'll say. This is a huge round right here. You have to have this win if you're LA. Just considering how the patterns have started to unfold, Boston have had the edge in just about every single round to this point, save one where Envoy had a first blood.
Yeah, Envoy, though, has 4 first deaths on his tally. He's been a tremendous playmaker for LA in search and destroy. So far has not yet been able to get anything going. Back on the offensive side, you see 2 nades getting invested over the top. Wow. Potentially are going to have the numbers. They're sending it.
Yeah, LA's looking for this 3v2. Hydra able to get around the back for the first. They should know a second is nearby. Nice shot sense combination with Envoy. Purge. Do they know that he's here? They know that there were 2 members that were there, but do they get prediction on the Purge? Oh, the door gets in the way, and LA will quickly wipe the floor and take a critical 3rd round.
Yeah, and that was just a confidence round right there from LA. They said, what the hell are we doing? Let's just go put something together and chow the gunfights. We are simply better than them in that aspect. When they commit as hard as they did with the early information that they gained, they knew that not every single player is going to be stacking over towards B. So with 2 nades getting invested over towards the P5 side, you know that we have the numbers. Let's just fly on in and find our kills. The Thieves make a very quick round on that offense to make up, now only down by 1 round.
And that's huge for the mental game as well,
100%.
just for what it's worth. Can you do that on defense, though? Boston, same 2-2 split we saw from a couple of offenses ago. Stung over the top. This is different. Purge is trying to play a little bit more aggressively towards Ticket, but has an AR, so it can only go so far. Snoopy, once again, just kind of laying prone towards the staircase. And Thieves are, once again, showing tempo, showing force, trying to play with a bit of aggression. And they will feel out that, no, we cannot go any further than that. No first bloods to this point, but an opportunity here for Snoopy, and he finds the first.
The way that Snoopy played this round, he heard so much gunfire all around him, around that hedge area, but he was going to move at the right time to guarantee himself a kill. Boston with 6 first bloods on the map. Purge able to find his second, and that's already round done. The Breach looking for a major upset here in day number 1 of champs. Are now at game point versus the back-to-back champions.
That's LA just trying to, again, instill their will upon this Boston team, trying to play with aggression, and Boston's just not having any of it. a team that when this team was built, all of us in the community were like, what? Are we kidding? And then they stick together even through what was a lot of adversity, a lot of criticism, but now a chance to do the unthinkable here at World Championships, the number 8 seed. They have beaten LA before. In fact, in terms of the league overall, they're one of the more successful teams against this Thieves squad. Can they finish it off here?
Just don't let your foot off the gas. Continue to play as consistent, continue to buy your life. Because Thieves know that they have to go for a pacing change. The slow and steady stuff is not working. And last time they were aggressive on the offense, they won the round in 15 seconds. But this time they're going to do it over towards the A side. A couple stunts. They're able to connect for Boston and realize where the play is coming in. It's already 30 seconds wiped off.
Boston have voluntarily given away the backside of stage, though, looking to once again play this same setup with Awakening and Purge. They tried this the last time. It didn't work as Purge was found. This time it's a different setup. Hydra through mid-map. Takes down Cammy. It puts Boston in a bit of a split situation between the B and the A defense, but they will get together at least somewhat as the bomb is yet to commit.
Look at Snoopy. Look at Snoopy. He was thinking that the play is going to be over towards B. He potentially is going to have a big one-on-one on the cards. Is able to locate Hydra, and that is going to be the series. Young Purge letting the back-to-back champs know you can't mess with me, Boston. Get the upset on day one.
You cannot come in comatose after a month off. And after an initial start that looked like LA was going to be all business, they can't take the 2-3-5 against Boston. A team that has never won a control versus them. A team that has only found success by way of winning either both hardpoints or both searches, but never a control. And how about that? Boston will send the number 1 seed down to the lower bracket in day one. The unthinkable has occurred.
3 to 4 weeks of practice, non-stop grinding, realizing who you were going up against in round number 1, and most likely the entire world was going to count you out. You just locked in, man. They were able to take the control. That was the most important one for me.
Oh, yeah.
I had a conversation with Purge and said, all right, we got better at Hardpoint, but you're still playing against the best Hardpoint team in the game. Their S&D play calls were outstanding, but the fact that they were able to take the control the way that they did, matches slaying on the side of LA, that was the map that decided everything for me. The underdog prevails again.
Unreal. Someone check on Octane. Wow. Boston with the statement here early, and you can see it again. How about the SMGs? 8-3 for Snoopy, 8-7 for Purge. That really is the big story point for me in this matchup. We talked about how Cammy has struggled versus LA in the past. Is it you need him to step up, or do you need the SMGs to take it a step further? I think we more so got that the SMGs took it a step further in this head-to-head matchup.
Oh yeah, they outclassed him to Surge and Destroy. Hydra goes 0-7 on map number 2. Map number 5, Envoy has 4 first steps. The SMGs couldn't clutch up on their one-on-ones. Purge is playing with the utmost confidence. The same thing could be said alongside with Snoopy. And that is just unreal. That is unbelievable that the 8 seed takes down the back-to-back champions in this environment with everything